Um, Ian Spencer from the Democratic Socialists. The floor is yours next, if that's okay with you, Ian.
Thank you very much. Good evening, comrades. Um, we've been living through some extraordinary times. I'm now 65, and if you look at the period from 1945 through to 1979, this was a period which was defined in many ways by the existence of the Soviet Union and the possibility that the working class might take power. If you talk to socialists today, you get the impression that socialism is regarded as something which is in the far distant future, or if not completely impossible. What the ruling class is absolutely certain of is that it's just around the corner if they're not careful. Um, but the point was that the presence of the Soviet Union, the possibility that there might be a revolution in the period after the Second World War meant significant concessions to the working class, whether that's the NHS or whether that's a welfare state or whatever else, relatively full employment, a relatively affluent middle class, and so on and so forth. What we now face is capitalism red in tooth and claw. And those concessions don't apply anymore. So what we're seeing, for example, is senior doctors will soon be taking strike action. We're seeing widespread proletarianization. We're seeing people spending half their income just on keeping a roof over their heads and things like that. So I think that's the first context to which we live. We're looking at capitalism with the gloves off now. Um, we've also lived through, in the last couple of years, the period of course, genocide in Palestine, and this has had an extraordinary effect. What we've actually seen is the coming into being of a worldwide movement which the like of which we hadn't seen for a very long time. And in a sense, your party was in part a response to the genocide. It was a response to the monthly, if not fortnightly, demonstrations, huge demonstrations, hundreds of thousands of people. And of course, this is a phenomenon that we saw worldwide. And so you have the potential there, if not a movement which had a particular aim apart from stopping the genocide, but it was nevertheless a movement worldwide which changed people's perceptions about what was going on in the world. Um, I can remember a time when lots of people on the left were actually quite relaxed about Israel. They were maybe, I mean, Tony Benn and Aaron Bevan were both members of Labour Friends of Israel. But what we've seen is a recognition of the naked brutality, not only of the Israeli state, but of the United States and of capitalism in general. So we're starting to see the coming into being of a state of consciousness among the working class. The problem we've got is that we don't have a mechanism by which we can cohere a worldwide movement for socialism. Um, the coming into being of your party, and we all know the kind of figures that we saw, something in the region of 800,000 people showing an interest in this organization, and tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people actually joining it. So, and we've also seen it destroyed. Um, we need a mass socialist party with a program of what socialism means. The period which we've lived through is socialism for a lot of people is either the Soviet Union, which was absolutely repellent. I lived there; it was an awful place to live. Or what we've seen is the first post-war Labour government portrayed as a kind of paradigm example of what socialist society is like. Neither of these is adequate. Neither of them will capture the hearts and minds of anybody particularly. Speaking as someone living in County Durham, what I tended to see is that most people were attracted to something like the Labour government of 1945. Um, the point is that that was a transient moment, a series of concessions that were made at a particular time and that will not be repeated. So, what I'm arguing is that what we need is a mass socialist party which is open, which is democratic and which is capable of putting forward a demands for international socialism. Effectively, your party failed because what it was putting forward was a program for a mass left Labour Party, and the left of the Labour Party had failed even beforehand. Even if we concede that the left of the Labour Party was capable of taking anything further forward at all, given that the Labour Party, including its left, had been supportive of imperialism throughout much of its history. Not only was it but it was led by somebody who had betrayed us the first time round when he was leader of the Labour Party. Corbyn actively worked extremely hard to kick out the left, kick out Jewish anti-Zionists from the Labour Party, rather than do anything about the right wing of the Labour Party, the very right wing of the Labour Party that brought us to this position with regard to Labour today. So, comrades, I'll leave it there because that's my 6 minutes, but I want to argue that we need a socialist party with a socialist program and a real vision of what that socialism would mean, the abolition of wage labour.
Ian, thank you, and thanks again. Another excellent contribution there. And I think one of the things that we'll all agree on is that we do want a mass workers' party committed to socialism. But the